Hey guys, Retired at 40. Today we're doubling down because we're doing Instant Pot Hot Apple Pie Oatmeal, and then we're gonna freeze dry it. So I feel like I'm always on this never-ending quest to find inexpensive recipes that I can make quickly, usually in the Instant Pot or on the grill or something like that, and then something that I can throw into the freeze dryer. My other requirement is that I want it to be a large quantity of whatever I'm making because I want it to be worthwhile for all the work that I'm putting in. And all of those requirements are met in today's recipe, Hot Apple Pie Oatmeal. With that being said, if you have a good recipe for me to try, leave it down in the comments section. So here's what we need for the recipe. First we need steel cut oats, and yes, they have to be steel cut oats or it will not turn out the same. Second, we need some almond or soy milk. And you guessed it, this is homemade. I'll have a video coming up on that pretty soon. Then we need some water. We need some raisins or some kind of dried fruit. If you're a freeze dryer, you know, you've got all kinds of this stuff laying around. I'm gonna do cranberries today. This actually is an optional thing because this is apple oatmeal. It has lots and lots of flavor even without the extra fruit, but you can do all kinds of different stuff. Raisins, cranberries, bananas, strawberries, really anything you want. Then you need 3 large apples. I'm going to do a Gala apple, a Honey Crisp apple, and a green apple. And then for spices, we need some cinnamon, some nutmeg, some vanilla, and some ground ginger. If you've ever watched any of my Instant Pot recipes, you know that I love the Instant Pot because it's really fast and it's usually just a handful of ingredients, and this is no exception. So what makes this one really easy is everything just goes in there. There's no prep, there's no nothing. So we're going to start off with a cup and a half of water. And then we're going to do 1 cup of the steel oats. And I want to show you the difference between steel oats and the regular oats that you're used to. So it almost looks like oatmeal that has been thrown into a blender. It's just a little bit finer. But the texture is always a whole lot different, and I like them a lot better. So into the Instant Pot with 1 cup of steel oats. And then we're going to do a cup and a half of our almond milk or soy milk, or you can use regular skim milk or whole milk or anything, any other kind of milk also if you want to. Alright, next up we need our 3 apples. And you know me, I'm always trying to show off my kitchen gadgets. This is an apple core. We use this a lot for when we're making apple cider and when we pick all of the apples off of the apple tree. But it takes all the skin off and then it cores it at the same time. Takes the core out and it gives you this little coily thing. I'll put a link in the description for where you can pick one of these up. So you got 3 cored apples, and the cool thing about this, then you can just take a knife, cut them twice, and you've got all your apple chunks. Good for freeze drying also. Okay, now into the Instant Pot with the apples. Next we're going to do our 1/4 cup of cranberries, raisins, any kind of freeze-dried fruit. Really anything that's going to add flavor, but once again, you don't actually need the fruit. The apple is actually really good just by itself. So here's where a big punch of flavor comes in. We're going to do a 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. We're going to do 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Look at all that deliciousness, and it smells really good too already. So just give it a real quick mix to stir up the ingredients before we throw our lid on. If you've never been to the channel before, I just want to take a moment to welcome you. We do some cooking, we do some food preservation, we do some grilling, we do some self-sustained living, and you get to journey with me and my family on our retirement at the age of 40. So if you like the content we provide, click the subscribe button and then click the bell to get notifications of new videos. And while you're there, give us a thumbs up and throw us a comment in the comments section. In the meantime, let's get back to the recipe. So you want to go to manual, and you want high pressure, and then we're going to do 4 minutes. And when your 4 minutes is up, you're going to let this naturally release. Now, what I'm really curious about is how this is going to freeze dry after it turns out. I've never actually done oatmeal before, but I have done several other breakfast things, and I've done several other things that has the same consistency as oatmeal. So I've got a feeling it's going to be really, really good. Also, if your Instant Pot runs a little hot like mine does, mine tends to burn things. You can also adjust it and go down to medium or low. You might have to add just a little bit of time, or you can just open your lid and stir it every couple minutes. Alright, it smells wonderful in here. And now it's time to load up our freeze dryer trays. I'll tell you what would go really good with this is my Traeger granola. I made a holiday granola a while back, and it would just be awesome to top this oatmeal with that granola. Alright, so I can already tell you, obviously this is not even going to be close to enough to fill all my trays, but it does look like one batch fills one tray almost perfect. If you just spread it out, it's just to the top of the tray. So I'm going to go ahead and make 3 more batches of this. Alright, let's check and see how this is doing. I actually tripled up the recipe, and it looks like it actually did just fine. I added a couple more minutes on it, and then I just let it hang out for a little bit longer, and didn't burn this time. Whew, the Quaker Oats guy has got nothing on us today. Check those things out. Those look, smell, and taste awesome. Let's go take them out to the deep freeze. Well, looks like everything's done. Let's take it down to the freeze dryer. So I'm not sure if our oatmeal got completely frozen. So I'm gonna do a final dry of 9 hours. Alright, we'll see you guys in a bit. So the oatmeal has really caught me off guard. I had every intention on having this video out Friday for Freeze Dried Friday like I usually do. It's been about 37 hours and 8 minutes now, and I've still got an hour and 48 minutes left. So the oatmeal is really taking a lot longer than I thought it was. Something like that usually only takes about 24 hours, sometimes 20 hours. But by the time it's all said and done, we're looking at almost 40 hours. But we've got no choice but to keep drying. Alright, we're finally done. It took us 38 hours and 57 minutes, and I gotta tell you, that's a lot longer than I thought it was gonna be. I don't know why it took so long. It possibly could have been that it wasn't all the way frozen. I had it in the deep freeze probably 8 hours or more, which I figured would be plenty. But let's see how it turned out. Let's take these up to the kitchen and have a closer look. Okay, so first impressions, it looks really, really good. It's exactly how you want it to be. It's that super, super dry consistency. Everything looks really good. I've got a feeling this is gonna rehydrate exactly the way you want it to be. In fact, I don't think you'll even be able to tell that it was freeze-dried and then rehydrated. This stuff tastes really good, even in its dry form. It's kind of similar to granola. It also tastes a lot like hot apple pie. Alright, so I've got a little bit saved in some ball jars so we can rehydrate it, and a little bit that I'll vacuum seal in the Harvestright just because I like to see the difference. The rest is going to go in a Mylar bag. And I'm going to go into a Mylar because I'm going to use this for camping. This is a great camping breakfast because it's super easy. You just boil some water, throw it on there, and you're good to go. I also think that you'd be fine if you smash this down pretty good. So another little idea for you, I like to put my oxygen absorbers into a little ball jar like this, and then I vacuum seal it after I use it every time. I vacuum seal it in the Harvestright, and then it pulls all of the oxygen out of it. Makes the oxygen sealers last for a lot longer because, as you know, if you leave the oxygen absorbers exposed to the air for about 15 to 20 minutes, they're no good anymore. So I like to have them open as little as possible. I also triple seal my bags because I don't trust Mylar as much as a ball jar because you can't see what's going on inside of it. So I like to be better safe than sorry. And since we're doing apples, another thing that I like to do if I'm doing just plain apples, I like to sprinkle some cinnamon on them, and you kind of get the same flavor as what you get in the oatmeal like this. The apples are very sweet on their own, but if you put a little cinnamon on there, it really just gives them an added little bonus. Makes a great snack. Okay, so to reconstitute, it's simple enough. It's hot water and some freeze-dried oatmeal. Probably one of the easiest things that I've ever reconstituted. It's exactly like instant oatmeal except for it's homemade and you can tell the difference. The only thing that I would do different next time, I think if you smashed it up before you put it into a ball jar or into a Mylar bag, it would actually help reconstitute a little faster. You wouldn't have to stir it as much, and it would be a little bit more compact to store. I think the oatmeal meets all of my qualifications. You can make a whole bunch of it in the Instant Pot and then go into the freeze dryer, fill up all of your trays, and you have a whole lot of food that's inexpensive and it's worthwhile when you're done. And also feel free to share your recipes or suggestions you'd like to see for videos, especially if it meets my qualifications. Well, this is Retired at 40. Remember to live life simple. We'll catch you next week.